Good morning, broadcasters. Good morning, industry. And welcome to another episode of 360 Seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special feature where Mr. Grossman and I will be sharing about the most recent event that happened in the industry, the one that the whole sector buzzes for months after, which is the IBC show in Europe. Phil, you have recently flown up to Europe and got the opportunity to attend one of our favorite conventions, IBC. And today's all about that. We wanted to hear your thoughts, wanted to hear your experience, and what were some of your highlights from this year's event.
Certainly. I love going to the IBC show. The running joke in our industry is whatever's announced at IBC ships at NAB, whatever's announced at NAB ships at IBC. And I'd say I think this is my 10th IBC or 14th IBC. So I've been going for quite some time. And one thing I did notice, the crowds are back. So the amount of people showing up at the show has sort of returned to normal to some extent. I think some of the booths are a little smaller, although some have gotten bigger over the years. So we're seeing the industry changes in that matter. But there wasn't, to my surprise, in the past 2 to 3 years of both NAB and IBC, we saw this domination of AI. AI was everywhere, and cloud was everywhere. And I think this year, I don't muddled maybe is the wrong word, but it was more sedate. It was more, I think that we're starting to either the hype is gone, I think, from some of the products. But more importantly, it's now become okay, let's figure out how to actually use these in products. So we're starting to see some AI features, specifically in PTZ cameras. So tracking has become a real important thing in the AI, which we've been able to do for years. We never called it AI at the time. It was sort of auto tracking, but it really has improved with the adoption of newer AI algorithms. So I think that's great. So for smaller organizations or for sporting events where you have lots and lots of action, this has really helped. And I saw a fair number of solutions and manufacturers adopting AI from that standpoint. I did not see a lot of sort of AI standalone, although there's I think it's 12 labs, 11 labs is the other one. There are some that are still there. I'd say the other thing I really was looking at was 8K. I had a customer who came to me, a client, and was needing 8K distribution. And what I found is 8K adoption is very much reminiscent, reminds me of where we were in the early adoption of UHD. So everything is still what's called SQD, square division, which means it's 4 wire, 4 quadrants on the screen, which requires, unfortunately, really good timing, because if any of those quadrants are out of sync, you'll notice it immediately on the screen. And it just comes from the fact that there is no 48 gig SGI. So there's no single SGI cable that can do it. It does require IP if you want to go single stream. There are a few manufacturers who do have some 2SI, although it's rare. And more importantly, the distribution, there are very few 8K encoding companies. Now, I did come across one company, Synergy, which really was very interesting. They've been around for a while, for a long time, actually. In fact, I think I think they're the ones who used to have SDI must die on their signage at IBC for many, many years. And they've really got a very software centric solution. I think that was probably the other thing we've seen is a lot of software centric solutions, and moving away a little bit from just CPU into GPU. That trend, I think, is driven partially by AI. AI requires GPU, a lot more GPU developers out there. And the fact that you can now get GPU enabled virtualized machines in the cloud environments, which is the other thing that I thought was sort of interesting, is we're seeing a lot more hybrid, which the term I hate. I really prefer to have fully integrated, but a hybrid where it used to be everything had to go to the cloud, everything had to go to the cloud. And what we're now starting to see is not everything in the cloud, but a combination of cloud and on-premise solutions to enable workflows to work. And I think this is trending towards the need for, I'll call it burstability. And I use that term very loosely. Bursting may be, for an hour or two, it may be for a day or two, a week or two, a month or two, or maybe for several years, but it gives organizations the ability to grow without a large capital investment. And so we're
Like
seeing
an
that a
agile
lot.
technology solution.
Yeah, Exactly. And it's helping smaller organizations adopt cloud instead of an all-in model, which I think is very good. And then I came across a product, Torque, which is sort of interesting. They in the past we had seen several solutions built around CPUs designed for cell phones, and these guys actually built a very specific ASICs chip that goes into a 1RU rack server that can do 192 transcodes in a 1RU space. So I think
Wow.
that was probably the most interesting because it's showing that we can get to the densities we need. That last mile is still a problem we have to solve in this industry. So overall, it was a great show, and I can't wait for NAB to see what actually gets released.
Awesome. And with that said, Phil, thank you for being our specialty guest, our head innovator to share with the industry as always. And we'll be looking to seeing you at the next shows as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Bye bye.
Bye.